Falcha, hello and welcome to Keith's Whisky Vlog. My name is Keith, aka Whisky Tour Guide Keith, and as well as here on YouTube, you'll find me on Instagram, same name, one word, at Whisky Tour Guide Keith. Like and subscribe, check me out, leave any comments, let me know what you think of the videos, any whiskies you'd like me to taste, anything like that. What we're doing for you today is quite a special tasting. As you can see, I already have some little samples lined up, and these are from the Kilchoman Distillery. I picked up this little experimental pack, and the last time I was there in 2021, it was part of the Fagila, the Islay Whisky Festival releases that Kilchoman did. So we've got 4 different full maturation experimental casks. So it's not like a port finish, it's full port maturation. So I'll tell you what the whiskies are, then we'll pour them into the glasses. I do have 4 Kilchoman glasses, but I've only got 3 of the tour glasses, and I've got one that's a little bit more oversized. If I remember rightly, I think this is the one from my lanyard when I did a tasting in the distillery. Can't remember. But anyway, we've got 4 Kilchoman glasses, we've got 4 Kilchoman whiskies to taste. And this is a really interesting Islay distillery, opened in 2005 off the top of my head, so really coming into its own. Some really good core expressions, the Machar Bay, the Sanig. I think I've got the Machar Bay, yep, there's the Machar Bay up here on my shelf, a real sort of rival to maybe the Ardbeg 10 or the Lafroig 10, the Machar Bay, even though it's not an age statement. Also with the Machar Bay, if you get the chance to try the cask strength, as I speak, they've released one and they're about to release a second one in the winter 2021 into 2022, and the only tasting note that I had for the Machar Bay cask strength was blowtorch, just hot and strong. I digress. Back to the experimental tasting pack. So as I say, it released as part of the Islay 2021 Whisky Festival. I think the distillery did an online tasting. I've purposefully not watched it, so I'm not influenced by what they thought or any of their information. So I'll tell you a little bit about the bottles as far as I know, then we'll have a little tasting and tell you what I think of them. The colours alone, this one's quite clear. This is the Calvados Cask. So Calvados is a sort of French apple brandy. This one comes in at 62.1% cask strength, distilled in 2018, so it's just old enough to be called a whisky, and this is Christian Drouin. Now, I don't speak French, so apologies to France and to French speakers, but that's my best stab at the pronunciation. There we go. And Christian Drouin is in the north of France, in Normandy. So Calvados, nice little apple brandy. Very interested to try this one because somebody I know who likes his whisky, very experienced whisky drinker, once told me that the best whisky he'd ever tried was from a Calvados cask. I'm not going to tell you which whisky it is, I might in another video or maybe in person at some point, but I've never had a Calvados matured whisky, although it's quite light in colour. Really looking forward to it. The second one is a Ruby Port cask. So Ruby Port is like the most sort of common, if you like, port from Portugal. It's generally quite young, but this has got a beautiful colour on it, nice and pink. It almost qualifies as the third pink whisky that I've ever come across. A Kalila 7-year-old, the Finlagan Portwine Cask 2017, and this one's pretty much pink as well. And this, a rather weak 57.3, so cask strength as well. Excuse me, this is a little bit older. This is pushing 7 years old. This was distilled in 2014. Okay, it's a little bit more sort of longer matured. They've done Ruby Port before at Kilchoman, but this one's been matured for a bit longer than their previous efforts. Third is a Cognac Cask. This is Ferran Cognac, and it's distilled in 2016, 58.4%. So a French brandy. Looking forward to that one. Something quite different. Experimental casks. So I'm looking forward to them. I'm looking forward to the whole thing. Last but not least, fourth in our little tasting pack is the Sdr Cask. What does Sdr mean? Well done if you got it. Shaved, toasted, recharred, and this is a red wine cask. So 61.5%. So it comes in second in strength, 62.1, 61.5, 58.4, 57.3. Looking forward to this even more now. So each of these whiskies is non-chill filtered, natural colour, and they're all fully matured in those barrels. So very interesting. I think this tasting packet sent me back, I think it was £20, 19.99. So I think a fair price for what you're getting. Let's see how we get on. So I'm going to pour one at a time, have a little smell, because if I pour them all, the smells will sort of intermingle a little bit. Oh, so looking forward to this. Okay. Port. It's a really nice colour. It's not like your older matured port where it's dark. It's got colour, but it's quite a translucent. It's still quite clear, even though it's quite dark. Okay, put these out the way. What we do, so you can see the glass. Cognac. These are all 20 millilitres. It's nice little measures. And the STR. It's going to look quite small compared to its brothers, its sisters. It's going to be a good night tonight. So I'm speaking to you in July 2021. I was over in Islay this month and Jura as well. Took the good lady wife over on a little holiday. It was her first visit. I've been talking about it for years. So we visited Kilchoman. Kilchoman's a sort of it's Islay's farm distillery. They grow a lot of their own barley. They bottle it on site. They mature it on site. They try and do as much as they can within their walls, figuratively speaking. Right. So. First impressions smelling through them. I never actually. So these three are you've got a real sort of smoky ashy hit, reminiscent of the Macker Bay or the Sanig. This one was quite clean, quite malty. So the Calvados to start with. So quite fresh, really apple, pear, white grape, that fruitiness. And hardly any smoke, hardly any dirt, and hardly any muck. It doesn't really smell like a whiskey. That was what was that distilled? That was a 2018, so it's still very young. I don't know if you can see the colour, it's very light, but it doesn't really smell much like a whiskey. Certainly those sort of white, green fruit notes. So let's infect my nasal passages with some smoke. This is just this smells lovely. This is right up my street. So it's not only Islay, so it's that earthiness, the peat smoke, the burnt, the charred, the ash, the bonfire, all of that mixed in, and it's got the sweetness as well from the port. If that is anything like in the mouth as it is in the nose, I'm going to enjoy that one. This one still intrigues me. So after the port, this one's calmed down a little bit. It's got a bit more sort of spiritiness about it. This was 2016, so it's a wee bit older. It's the oldest, no sorry, the port's the oldest, but this is sort of 4 or 5 years old. A little bit more sort of toffiness, a little bit of smoke, nowhere near as intense as the port. And the Sdr Cask 2018 is quite a young one as well. Burnt wood, charred wood. What's that? It's almost got a sort of eucalyptus, minty eucalyptus. Quite unusual. Oh, righty-o. So, on the nose, clean, green fruits, white fruits. Say green apple, but usually you talk about green apple on a taste note. Take the peel off the apple, it's sort of white underneath. It's more sort of white apple. I know you don't get white apples, but it's that sort of white apple. Right, let's have a little taste. This is outstanding. If you get the chance to get one of these 4 whiskies, I always say when you're tasting a whiskey, don't just taste a single whiskey. Taste 4, take 2 or 3, 4 side by side. The Ardbeg tasting, they do 5. You really get to discern the differences, and it's a lot easier to decide which one you like. It's usually the last one you build up, but we'll see, we'll see. I could keep sniffing these for a long time, but for the purposes of the video, we'll get moving along. One last one. Now that they've been in the air for a little while, that can sometimes change them. That one sort of gained a little bit of strength. What was its percentage? 58.4. That's really... That eucalyptus, it's got a sort of cleansing, it's like sort of cold smell. Right, on with the Calvados Cask, the one I was looking forward to the most in the first place. Quite light, 2018, so quite young, and 62.1. I'm sure you know the longer you leave the whisky to mature, generally it comes down in strength, so well over 60%. Oh. Substantially different in the mouth. It is all about fire ash, burnt ash. There'll be other flavours in there, but I think they're going to take a little while to come out. That's really surprisingly clean, fruity and sweet in the nose, and whoomph, just the bottom of a fire when you taste it. It's young, obviously, but it's not really, it's not, no sophistication, no depth. It really is right in the middle. There's nothing at the sides of my mouth. The ash on my tongue. It's really hard to decide. It's not far off. It's not new make spirit, but the word disappointing is wrong. It needs more age, and I'd be really interested to see if that nose can be transferred onto the mouth as it gets older, as it gets more mature. Lacks any real sweetness in the mouth. It's mostly dominated by your peat smoke. So we'll leave that, we'll come back to it, I think. So on to the Ruby Port. It's almost a little bit sort of chocolatiness in there as well, sort of milk chocolate. Quite nice. Quite sweet. Right, I'm getting a lot less of the sweet notes from when I first removed it. It's now quite sweet rather than very sweet. and this one 2014, so I think it was pushing 7 years, not quite 7 years. Oh, that's powerful. Almost got a little bit of prawn in there, sort of barbecued prawn somehow. Not fishy, not too salty, just nice prawn, just that sort of texture almost. Get a sort of sweet raisin. It's quite. This is tingling my lips. This one, tingling my whole mouth. A little bit of sort of plum, what you'd expect more from a sherry. It's got that thick peat smoke, unmistakably Islay, but the juicier flavours are coming through a little bit better. It's thicker. You're talking maybe sort of blackcurrant jam, dark jam. Be very interesting with water, that one. Should open it out, cram it down a little bit, release a little bit more. They're all going to be interesting with water. What am I talking about? Right, I really need to get a little glass of water in between for my tastings, cleanse the palate and all that, but too much fun. Why waste time drinking water when you can drink whiskey? Right, Cognac Cask. Don't think I've had a Cognac Cask before. So let's see what this one's like. We're looking at 2016, so it's getting on a little bit. Nice in the nose, quite clean, bit fruity. There's a bit more sort of toffee honeycomb, that sort of. I don't know if you get crunchy, and that sort of sweet cinder toffee. A little bit orangey. It's hard to say if I've been. Here it comes now. I thought I was gonna, because I've been exposed to the bonfire ash, I was going to get less of it, but it came a little bit late there. It is there, but a little bit delayed. I have to say, I might be looking serious, but this is great fun. Yes, you've got orange, you've got a bit of toffee. Quite sort of hard toffee, not too soft, nothing too buttery, just quite a sweet hard toffee. A little bit of the wood there as well. Oh. Definitely just that sweetness, that sweet toffee, as I say, that honeycomb, it's definitely in there. It's very nice. Not too loud, not too noisy, not too... It comes at you when I say that, it comes at you after the smokiness, so that's a very nice one. It's got a bit more about it for about a 5-year-old. It's not too bad at all. Onto the Sdr, so shaved, toasted, recharred. They're talking about what they do to the inside of the barrel and giving it that Ardbeg call it sort of alligator skin, that sort of effect is what it looks like, and that's really going to pump your it's going to open up more cracks in the barrel, give you much more sort of that phenolic flavour infection, if you like, and really get the spirit into the wood as well. So this should be quite intense. Sdr 2018, so quite young, decent colour on it for a young one, but we'll see. It's much more toffee, buttery, sort of fudge. Also a bit of tablet, A real sort of sugary Scottish, wouldn't say delicacy, something your granny would make. It reminds me first of all of the Kilchoman Distillery, which is one of their core expressions. It's not got an age statement. Did a little video on the Distillery, feel free to have a look at it. And that's what that's like, very, very reminiscent of it. So you've got sort of, again, your red fruits, summer berries, you've got your toffee, and you've got that just baseline, the smoke and peat. Very reassuring. Kilchoman are doing it really well. The more Kilchomans I taste, the more I like them. Oh. Got strength there as well. Yeah, 61.5%. That bit caught the back of my throat. So let's add some water. Let's see what on earth happens now. Just my usual 2 or 3 drops. We're going for 3 drops there, thereabouts. So it's quite young, they're all quite young. This should appreciatively change them. Open them out, mellow them somewhat. Start at the start again, back to the Calvados. So, much less sophisticated, sweet in the nose, but not as much of that flavour in the mouth, just the underlying smokiness. Let's see what the water does. Much sweeter. It's talking about the smoke and the peat being at the bottom. That's like it's added a whole, that's real buttery fudge tablet added on the top. Lemony, much more sweet, much more sugary. It's much nicer with the water. So it's amazing how much it changes adding that tiny little bit of water sometimes. It's almost too sweet. Real sort of sugary at the front. Tingle, heat, but an extra layer of sweetness added on with the water. So the Calvados, decent, needs more time, and I'm more than happy to try it again in another, mostly another 3 years' time, see where it's at. Back to the port, a little bit of water in this one now. Okay, much sweeter, sort of more, a lighter sweetness. Still got strength. It sort of lifted the smoke. It's there, but it's more rounded now. Smoky, it's sherry, it's lovely. Again, could do with it being a bit older, but I don't think it would take too much longer. I might just need filled out with something maybe a little bit older, just to bring it to its senses a little bit more. It's just a lot. There's a little bit. It's fizzing a little bit. It's just a little bit too busy. It's nice, not quite rounded, but it's got enough in the middle just to intrigue you. Cognac cask with a little bit of water. Fresh, bit lemony, bit buttery. Oh, 58.4. That was, what was that? It's another type of spirit. Obviously a little bit of brandy with the cognac, but spirity heat. Again, for the age, it's not old, but still you'd expect it, comparatively speaking. So that's yeah, that's a real hit. That's really released strength and power. Quite sharp. Losing a little bit of its flavour. That said, I've been through these whiskies now. My tongue especially, so in the middle is it's taking the hit, so maybe I'm detecting a little bit less. But a bit sort of honey, but sharp honey, not too sweet. Sdr, a little bit of water. Let's see what happens. Nearing the end now. It smells good, it smells really good. Again, still strong, but again it's rounded it more. As I think I've said before, I'm forgetting which one was which, but the sort of the summer fruits, summer berries, so raspberries, strawberries, that's in there. Again, a sort of sweet toffee. I've not really rated them as I've gone through, but out of those four, that one was really, really good, and this one probably just edges it. So the Sdr Cask, distilled 2018, 3 years old. I've seen bottles of this before. They did have a Kilchoman Sdr Cask. I think it must have been quite a young one. Well, there you go. Hopefully you've got something out of that. I would highly recommend. It's been very enjoyable, very interesting. Calvados, it's like when you go to see a movie and people have told you it's really good and you go and it's not so great. I think that's what's here. If I didn't know anything about it, I might have come with different expectations, but expecting a bit much maybe from it. It's a young one, Calvados. So give this longer. Come back to me in a few years, please, Kilchoman, or I'll come back to you. Port cask, mature whiskey and sherry casks in port casks, perfectly fine. Happy with that one. That one will get better, and as I say, maybe needs a bit extra just to fill it out. Make a great whiskey. The Cognac Cask, jury's out. By its nature, experimental, doesn't mean it's always going to work. It's fine. It's intriguing. Whether it's a full-on sort of Islay, Kilchoman, but it's okay. Nothing wrong with it. Just lining it up with these ones. And the Sdr Cask, as I say, probably by a nose beats the Ruby Port, with a Cognac in third and the Calvados coming in fourth place. So from a very smoky, peaty, ashy, burnt wood, charred wood whiskey tour guide Keith, thank you for watching, and if you like this video, there's plenty more where this came from. Check me out. As I said at the start, get in touch, let me know what you think, and if you've tried these, hopefully you enjoyed them. I will be over in Islay again very soon, and I will be back online again very soon, so I'll speak to you again at some point. All that leaves that is for me to say, Slán Java, cheers for now, see you again.